The blast-off is turning into the Champions Corner. We're here at the BAM Pro-Am on the California Delta. We've covered the last 3 days of competition. If you watched our day 1, day 2, and the preview highlights, you saw a lot of good fish catching. But you saw one person in particular in every episode, and that was JD Madden. JD not only was leading on the first day with the 22-pound bag, he backed it up on day 2 to keep and maintain that lead even though it was slightly smaller. And then today, he took it all. He took that $7,000 first place prize and the title of co-angler champion. How'd it go this week, JD?
No, amazing. I mean, anytime you can walk away with the W and uh, and get a $7,000 payday is a great tournament. So super excited. Go wire to wire, uh, beyond expectations.
Yeah, and the best part is you didn't have to spend any gas money. You didn't have to spend any lodging either because you're a local up here. So, I mean, yeah, that's pocketing 7 grand and a little bit more of a hobby that you love to do. Maybe it'll even go as a silent investor for Western Angler rods because it sounds like they have worked for you a lot this week. I mean, were you using rods again today?
Yeah, we do. I don't have a Western angle yet, but and I cranked every fish today. So big adjustment from the previous 2 days where I caught a majority of the fish on a Cinco and punch. This time today, just with the wind, kind of the type of fishing that we were doing, I realized right away that I thought it set up well for a crankbait, and that's what I did. I kind of locked a crankbait in my hand and cranked fish out of the grass.
Really, and what is it about this weather that makes a crankbait a little bit better than a chatterbait maybe, or a spinnerbait, or something that you really think of when the wind starts blowing?
Yeah, I mean, when your pro is again, I like to throw something with a little bit different presentation. So pro was throwing a chatterbait and also kind of a soft, what I'd call a soft jerk bait. And so I wanted to present something different, and I have a lot of confidence in a square bill crankbait on the Delta, especially in clean grass. It's not a great bait if you get string grass or slimy stuff, but in clean hydrilla, it's really hard to beat on the Delta.
And you did talk about your boater today, who was also leading the event going into today, Chad Schweitzer. You practiced a little bit, or maybe not together, but you guys stayed in the same location. You're pretty much partners for the most part, and he's another ambassador for the rod company. But was it nice being on the same page with someone that you were staying with and that you know a little bit better to go into this final day?
Certainly made it anytime that you can just anytime you're paired with somebody you don't know, there's that feeling each other out kind of phase that makes the beginning of a day. Uh, you got to work it out. You need to see, how that pro is, what their expectations are of you as the co-angler, and they're also, I think, that feel out phase of how good of an angler are you from the back, and do they trust you. We already had that built, right? Chad and I trusted one another. I trusted Chad completely, to follow, to fish behind him, and I think that ultimately played into me getting the right bites today to win.
And I mean, when you came up to the tanks, you were not sure if you had it done. Knew you had a decent bag. You had 11 pounds today.
No, I only had 9 pounds today. I thought for sure going into the day, if I caught 10 with the 2.5 pound lead over the second, and then it got progressively bigger down the line, I thought, there hasn't been a lot of co-angler bags that were in the 13-pound range. So 10 would put a lot of pressure on the field to have to really catch them. And when I was short of that, I knew I left the door open. So I was nervous, and unfortunately, I had one fish that didn't make it, which had made it up until the end, and so I was real nervous, even more nervous, because of that. So, and it's always kind of a bad feeling when you lose a fish.
Yeah, I mean, that quarter pound can cost you a lot of money.
100%.
And I think we can talk about that a little bit because not so much a dead fish penalty, but there were 2 short fish penalties in the top 10 lineup.
Oh, wow.
You may not have known that, but yeah, I mean, that's 2 out of the 10 guys that already lost a pound on top of it and got a fish thrown out. So they're not weighing a limit at that point. one of them was in the top 3. So, and the other one was in the top 5. So that really affected their chances right there. I mean, not making sure that their fish were legal size, and then not cross verifying before they got up to the tank. But how important is it to understand, I guess, logistics, rules, expectations, everything that goes into the tournament format over 3 days to where those penalties don't hurt you?
Yeah, I think it's critical. Like when Tyler was started on the Super 60, and he had learned it all in college too, how important it was, because every organization has little different rules. But to talk specifically about BAM and the rules, like, and how that played into my day on day two. On day two, I had a 13-inch fish. I had 4 fish, and I measured that fish, and I had Mark look at it, and it was it was as close to the 13 as it could be, but I held that fish at first because it was touching, but I made sure before about an hour and a half in, I was like, I wanna check it again because you have to know that it is 100% gonna make it, and once those fish aren't feeling as good in the live well or what, but when I closed that fish's mouth 100% to make sure the lips were closed, that is when I felt it slid back just enough, but if the mouth was cracked a tiny bit, it touched. To me, after having a 22-pound
Yeah,
bag the first day, if I came in with 4, I knew that that fish was gonna help me the next day with probably a it's a 4-pound lead instead of a 2.5-pound lead, but at the end of the day, I wasn't gonna risk it and lose another pound on top of it, and I threw that fish back. Knowing it has to be mouth closed
yeah.
is, knowing those rules is important, and it makes a big difference and can cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, when you're at the tank, once those fish are up here, you're kind of stuck with them. I can look, and I do look probably 7 to 10 times, flipping fish back and forth using 2 different boards and just doing everything in my power to make that educated judgment call. But at the end of the day, I'm not checking every single fish that goes through the tournament to let some slip by. And that's one thing that a lot of guys don't realize. It might feel like it's hurting them a little bit, or that I might. That the fairness or whatever it may be into it. But at the end of the day, if that fish is short, if that fish is dead, that call is going to stick, and that's because we have to maintain that standard. But let's keep talking about the tournament. You did a different tactic today than the first day. You were throwing Senkos to get you that 22-pound bag. But yeah, I mean, what else did you change up today, knowing the conditions were going to be different? Were you still casting across channels? Were you getting more water to fish that bait effectively? And yeah, I mean, what else was different, I guess?
Um, yeah, I don't know if it wasn't necessarily different today. We were in more wide open spaces where I could not cast to the other side. Um, but I was able to, because of the way that the an interesting and Chad was super helpful in this, right, with the boater. As soon as you're working down a bank, for him to present the lure the way he wants to present it and not just block me out, he said, "Hey, it's okay. Why don't you crank the big motor, turn turn the wheel on the big motor so that it kicks the back end as he's moving forward, gives me now an angle to be able to cast at the bank and present my lure." That little stuff, when a boater offers it to you, I definitely took advantage of that, and that, I think, was the key to me getting enough bites to win.
Yeah, and that is something that a boater may not even think of realistically, but yeah, it did help you out. It got you those 5 fish. What are some other tactics that boaters may not recognize that they can do to help a co? What's something that co's can do to help pros? What are those little differences that can make your day?
Um, yeah, I would say from the boater's point of view is if you have a certain level of expectations of things that when you approach an area, I've watched a lot of heartbreak. I had it happen to me last year actually on the boater side where I was approaching an area and I communicated that the area was actually, when we made this point that we were gonna fish this pocket back behind with the frog.
Yeah.
And as we approached that, I didn't lay the expectation out that let me swing the boat around first and get in a good position. And as we cleared that point while I was working on the trolling motor, my fired into that cove. And when he did, he caught a 4 pounder.
Wow.
So at first, inside, I'm upset. At the end of the day, though, I didn't give him the expectation of, "Hey, let me get us in position so we can both make productive casts." Because what ended up happening is that fish dove and got stuck in the weeds. So now I knew that that area held multiple fish. I had to go in there with the big motor, or with the not the big motor, but the trolling motor, and dig his fish out of the grass, and it blew it all out. So now that spot, which I had in my mental game plan work that I was probably gonna be able to get a couple good bites out of it, is now ruined until later in the day. So, that expectation, like today, Chad had a place where he had a big frogfish that he had missed the first day. And so, I communicated to him, "Hey, where is that frogfish? Because I do not wanna cast in there first." And he says, "Hey, the frogfish that I want, the pad that I want are up in front of this Thule point. Feel free to hit anything on this cove on the left." Now I'm cool. I can cast anywhere I want in that other pocket and know that I'm not gonna impact him.
Yeah.
So I think that that communication and those type of things from boater and co-anglers is important. And the co-angler can get very frustrated, especially in a bed fishing type of a tournament when the boater is locked in on big bedfish. You may sit there for an hour and, and you just have to you just that's part of the game, and unfortunately, it's part of the game, and it is very hard for a co-angler. I didn't experience that at all this week, so I was lucky.
Yeah, and there were a lot of guys that did, and they may have been a little overly frustrated in the situation, but realistically, you're there for a learning experience. You're there to, learn new methods. If you, instead of being frustrated about that bedfish, see how he's targeting it. So then you learn something out of the deal, try and spin it to be positive. And at the end of the day, you're kind of there for the ride, unfortunately. And it can be a good ride, a wavy ride, or there could be a little bit of bad mixed in, depending on who you get paired with. But at what point in the day did Chad kind of recognize that he didn't have enough to quite pull it off, and did that change how he made your effect or made the rest of your day look?
No, Chad knew going into the day that he was out of big fish that he had located in practice. So it was gonna be a complete new fishing, day. So we ran new water that he had not fished in the tournament, and then we ran water that he had fished as well, but we ran a lot of fuel today. We ran north, we ran then all the way down south, and then back to the central. I mean, we ran a lot of fuel today. So, and he ended up getting a nice 4.5 pounder on first it blew up on a frog. He flipped back in with a follow-up bait and got it. He then moved to the next spot and got himself a 3 pounder, culled out another small fish to get his limit to 15. And then it was like, now he has an hour and a half left. Can we find him a bite? Because he's really now with a one bite away from having his 20-pound bag and winning this thing. So, but at that point, the tide was much more difficult for those bigger bites that he was
Yeah.
looking for. We were out of bed fish. It's windy, so you can't just go looking for one because it got too windy and cloudy to see. So it really took that away. Um, but that's fishing, right? Chad was super happy to make the top 10. He ends up with a third place. He's going to be sitting, I think, second in Angler of the Year, in a great spot to qualify for Super 60, and I hope he does.
Yeah, and I think you just explained how well of an angler Chad is. If you don't know him, he's got the lake record spotted bass on Shasta still, and that's been held for years. He's been very talented, and honestly, at the top of the game last year too. He was one spot out for making the Super 60. So that put a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to go fish against Tyler, Ty Mantarola, all these guys that are, I mean, fishing for 50 grand every event. Lucky enough, he was able to fish for a $43,000 Vexus at this one, but the field is a lot bigger than the Super 60 field, too. So there's benefits of fishing in the top series on the professional level on the West Coast right now. And we're trying to build and grow that every year. And it's awesome to see anglers that are trying to grow in that. But let's talk about the crowd. How was it today with that many young kids out there giving away guide trips? The 200 to 300 students that came in. Did it feel like a good environment to way you're fishing today?
Yeah, it was awesome. Thomas asked me a little bit about what it felt like to be on the stage with now having Tyler and the family in there in the stands while I was up there, because I'm usually the guy in there when Tyler's up there for his top 10. And but to look out there and every single seat in the bleachers was filled, and it was standing room, and it was a whole bunch of old school Delta guys that I've fished against forever that were here. And it was just really cool to look out there, but to see so many kids and the excitement that they have every time somebody held up a fish. And so I definitely applaud BAM for what they're doing, and I think it's gonna pay dividends, and it's gonna grow the scholastic fishing, and the more that we can get our kids outside, um, and enjoying this. I mean, they all live here on probably, I mean, it's my favorite fishery, obviously, I live here. I love this place, it's super special, and not only that, but I think that it's gonna grow outdoors, motivated kids that are gonna love the outdoors, and it's really neat to see.
Yeah, and that's a good thing out here. I mean, the fact that we had over 400 RSVP and the majority still show up in some faulty weather, to say it best. I mean, it's windy out here, it's cold, it does not feel like spring. But the fish felt a little funky this week too, and they still showed up in a big way. A 10-pounder weighed in at weigh-in always makes it fun. So if you missed it, don't do that again. Come on out here. We have tournaments all over the West Coast from Arizona to Washington. So when there's one in your area, come get involved. We'll have a youth event at Moses Lake coming up as well. And it's just a great way to connect with community, engage in the next generation, and engage in some good fishing and dock talk at that. So, I mean, I think we really covered all there is to cover. You've had 3 episodes on here now. We know the rods are great. We know the baits worked, and we know that you had some good pros each day as well. Do you have anything you want to end it on to wrap up the JD Madden series for the co-angler champion?
No, I just repeat again, like, I am super thankful for all of the Delta, fishing community and the support, from everybody that I've fished against, over the years, but to the to boat pros and Tanner and what he's done over there, and he was here every single day working on somebody's boat, right? And you've heard his name mentioned on stage over and over and over, but that's because, like, it makes a difference when you have a boat company when you have a boat shop that has the level of customer service and commitment to the anglers that he does. And I'm proud to call him a friend. I'm proud that they provide the level of support that they do to Tyler and I. Um, and then a shout out to the Bass Hole. I think a lot of people don't know that the Bass Hole, has online tackle shop. You can order from them as much as you can order from any of the big retailers. I love, we all order our tackle places, but sometimes it makes a big difference to support your small businesses, and they support us. So I just think it's important that I give a shout out to them, and also just to my family for their support and allowing me to do it. And if anybody's looking for a trip,
Yeah,
they'll
go,
Tidal.
yeah, go to tidalcaldelta.com, somewhere like that. Is
Yeah,
that the right?
it's Tidal, California Delta Fishing, and, if you wanna get out here on the Delta and experience it, give me a call.
Awesome. There you had it, everyone. JD Madden, your California Delta co-angler champion who did it wire to wire all 3 days. He took the lead and he kept it, and that's a good day of fishing and a good weekend of fishing. He took home great winnings over $7,000. He got to see his son be a great individual this week. He got to see some of his brand representatives work hard, and he got to be a good representative for the next generation. But don't go anywhere because we're bringing in the pro champion, Christian Ostrander, in just a second.
Randall and I want to talk to you real quick about choosing the right electronics mount for your bass boat.
And we know the quality and effort that Van Foster has put into this company.
So what you get is a custom fitted mount, not some mass produced universal mount for every bass boat out there.
Seat pedestal plugs, tool holders, steering wheel spacers, and battery trays are all made with the same attention to detail that Bass Boat Technologies is known for. Check them out at bassboattech.com. You'll be glad you did.
Ever struggled to navigate shallow waters without damaging your boat? Realize your boat's potential with outboard motor performance products from Bob's Machine, an award-winning world leader in the marine industry since 1978. With over 45 years of dedication to quality, Bob's Machine offers innovative hydraulic transom jack plates and accessories for your boat.
Tackle Warehouse has everything you need to get out and catch more bass. Rods for every application or technique. Over 1,000 reels to choose from. Monofilament, braid, and fluorocarbon lines. A massive selection of baits from the smallest to the largest. Exclusive baits and colors only available at Tackle Warehouse. Everything you need to build or customize your favorite lures. And of course, countless options to store it all. Tackle Warehouse. Click, save, fish.
Welcome back to the Champions Corner. The time has come. We've already talked to JD Madden on his co-angler win. It's been a rough 3 days on the California Delta in terms of weight and just generally what it's known for out here, but there's one angler that topped the rest of the field. Not only is he taking home a very comfortable Vexus boat, which we're in right now, but he's taken home the opportunity and title to be called the California Delta Champion. We're here with Christian Ostrander. How'd it go this week?
Dude, I'm super pumped up. I can't believe it, to be honest with you. Winning on the Delta, I think, is one of the hardest places to win. You know, we're talking about tides. It just changes every year. So, I'm mind blown. Especially, first day I was way down there. I think I was 9 pounds behind first place. So, but yeah, I'm super jacked.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, I know when you were coming in on day one, you weren't happy with your finish, but then you came in on day two and you brought a big sack to the scales. So I think that made you probably feel a little bit better. But then on day three, you came out here and you got the job done once again. So what was it that got you the confidence, consistency you needed? I guess what brought it all together?
Honestly, I don't think I would have won if we didn't have the overcast the last 2 days. So, yesterday and today it was just basically overcast. I didn't need any wind. I liked how there wasn't much wind, but that overcast this year has just made these delta fish go bananas. They just bite, just little low light. They feel a little more comfortable to go just swim over there and eat your bait. So that that was a big deal. And then uh, I really low tide helped me out big time. So when that tide gets low, these guys panic, and really it just sucks those fish out to the edge, and that's mainly what I did. When that tide got low, I caught a lot of key nice fish, man, just right on the edge of the grass, knowing where there was some good grass, and they go up and spawn, or they basically were bluegill beds all up on the bank, and then there'd be a grass line, and then the bass would just sit on the edge when the tide would get low. So that was a big deal, is getting around tons of bluegill. There's a ton of shiners and all kinds of other bait fish. The Delta's super healthy, so that was a big deal.
And you're a little unorthodox. When most people hear cloudy conditions and they're on bedfish, they are not very happy.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what. I have never in my life have ever done good bed fishing in a bass tournament. So I will not bed fish. I will not even look uptight. So in practice, there's no there's no trying to find bed fish. So I might cruise the bank, but let's say you see a big one on a bed, I'm not gonna go try to catch that thing. That's a nightmare. Every time I've lost tons and tons of hours trying to catch a bedfish. So, but yeah, a lot of guys did good bed fishing, but man, I'm just fishing. I'm just fishing. Before You got to make far casts. If a fish is on a bed or whatever, and you make a far cast, he'll eat it. But when you're sitting there looking at him, he's seeing it. He it's a no go. So
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like you made the right call then because there was I think your second place angler behind you, he had a 10-pounder today. So he caught that on a bed, obviously, but he just didn't have four good ones to go along with it. And that key pound and a half difference or so is really what sealed the deal for you. But you did still have big ones in your bag. I mean, what is it out here that helps you find consistency on better quality fish? And is it just time on the water? Is it running tides? Or if you're fishing low tide, I guess probably not. But I mean, what's the mixture that brings it all together?
so um definitely. So yesterday I caught them all in an area, right? And Um, obviously, most anglers, they're gonna go there right off the bat the next day. It's the final day. You just caught 20, almost 24 pounds in an area. Guys are gonna go straight there. But I didn't go there till like 9:30. So, and it was all based on tide because I didn't catch them there yesterday till later. And that tide was just peak tide. So when it's peak tide like that, I mean, there's not much going on, not much fish biting. So I stayed closer out to Frank's where that tide just started dropping out right when we kind of got out there. And sure enough, I mean, in the first hour, I had 20 pounds. So I couldn't even believe it because I thought I was going to catch all my fish later. And sure enough, I caught a 6 and like a 4.5. And man, I could just be comfy after that. So
So well, that's awesome. One thing we didn't talk about yet is you're the only angler that's fished the BAM Pro Am series that's had 3 wins now. So
yeah,
that's not a bad thing to lead, especially when it brings a brand new Vexus
yeah,
AVX to the table.
exactly.
I mean, you have a couple of these trophies now, and your books are already full, I'm sure. But I mean, what are you doing for a living? Are you still guiding full time? And if so, where can guys find you?
Yeah, so, I'm a full-time guide on the Delta. I do a little bit of Pedro and Clear Lake, but I live on the Delta, so, you guys can look me up on my Instagram or Facebook, um, and you'll find my number on there and give me a call. Would love to get you guys out on the water and teach you guys a ton of stuff, ton of great stuff about the Delta and, some of these lakes.
And you just mentioned Don Pedro, so that's our next stop for the Pro-Am series. You've had success there in the past. You won Don Pedro last year. Are you going to be at that tournament?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what are your predictions for that event?
So fall is I love fall out there. So that's gonna be a lot of skill. So, when you get in these spring tournaments, man, guys kind of luck into a few on a Cinco, like last March, I won the last March one, and a lot of guys, had some lucky days, and then, 3 days couldn't. It's hard to put it together. See, I know that lake well, but fall, it's gonna be really tough. I'm thinking like 13 pounds, 14 pounds is gonna be really good. So I'm super excited for that because I've usually fall tournaments I could do well out there and the lake's really high, so I'm guessing it's gonna be really high. They're keeping all the water in. So usually when they do that in the fall and they don't pull the plug on it, it's the fishing's good. I've seen falls where it takes 25 pounds to win. I've seen falls where it takes 8, 9 pounds to win 50 boat tournaments on Pedro. So
Yeah, and hopefully we're heading closer to 100. I mean, 90 boats out here at Big Break Marina this week. Is that a pretty good Delta turnout? Are you
yeah,
happy with?
that's crazy, man. I really appreciate you guys coming out here and putting these events on. Without you guys, there'd be nothing to fish out here. So, man, really blessed to you guys to put these on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all because of the city of Oakley. It's our great partners. I mean, Bridgeford Food sponsored this nice trophy. We have a full team of partners that really work with us. But let's talk about your story a little bit. I mean, everyone knows you as a guy that's probably the person you don't want to see in a windy Wednesday nighter out here. The guy that's probably going to be on the top of the leaderboard the first couple days. But someone that can get it done. You're also one of the younger guys in the field. How did you get started? How'd you get consistent and I mean, what are your goals in the sport?
Yeah, you know what? Fishing is trying to be a tournament guy. It is a very rough life. There's a lot of lows and there's some highs, and um, my partner Mark Jang always told me not so high on the highs, not so low on the lows, and I've lived by that, man. Fishing is insane. I've done, you know, probably fished tournaments when I shouldn't have fished tournaments, like not having the money to go to this tournament, but risking it all and just doing stuff like that over the years of doing this. But mainly my dad took me out a lot. So he would take me bass fishing a lot. And I was just completely driven after that. Probably the last 13 years of my life, I've done nothing but fish. There's not one other thing I would do. When I was younger, I wasn't playing no video games. I was going bass fishing. So, you gotta be completely, devoted to it, you can't be running around doing this or that, and you gotta really want it. See, I know I see so many good anglers that weren't here at this tournament, and they should be here, you're it's in your backyard, you've been on fish, you've been doing good in tournaments, come fish the tournament. It's in your backyard, so, you gotta just really want it, you gotta risk it all, so
Yeah, and what about that crowd today? I mean, we had a lot
yeah.
of young kids in here. I mean, we had over 250 students and youth that came out to our event today, and they got to get some guide trips that were given away. They got to see the excitement. They got to see big fish being weighed in, and they got to see you win. I mean, do you think that the youth is going in the right direction out here? Or, I mean, it seems like something's going right.
Absolutely. I think fishing and like high schools or even younger kids, I think fishing has gotten so much more popular. I mean, there's so many young kids fishing now. The high school tournaments draw a ton of boats, and it's changed a lot of things, keeping kids out of trouble. So that's a good thing.
That's a good thing to do too. I mean, trouble is in a lot of people's vocabulary, especially when they're younger. But if you can keep that trouble out on the water with a few bass to reel in, then they're on the right track. Talk a little bit about, I mean, that same next generation, those guys that are sitting on the couch. What do you think is the switch that needs to flip? That confidence factor. How can they get better out here on a place that they may not know?
You just can't stop through all the low times, you just gotta keep chugging along, you gotta keep going out there, you gotta really wanna learn. See, I'm not like a crazy, social media guy, YouTubing how to, this or that or watching videos, I just go out there and fish. That's the best thing you can do, you wanna, uh, basically, get the stuff that you wanna just, what am I saying here? Every when you go out and fish, you just go fishing, there's once you got all this crazy stuff in your head, you ain't gonna do that good. You just gotta get out there and learn some stuff and learn from the bad days. That's the biggest thing is learn from the bad days, so
All right, well, here's one more question to wrap up. I know you don't really use live scope out here on the Delta, but on Don Pedro, do you feel like you've kind of mastered new technology, or are you still competing using traditional tactics that guys may not, that are easier to learn, like throwing a jig, throwing a swim bait, stuff that people can do and put time on the water to figure it out?
yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what, when LiveScope came out, I bought the best stuff, the best transducer, the big giant graph. And for like a little while, I thought I was the best in the state at it. Okay. I thought there was no one better than me at LiveScope. Well, guess what? I bet you I'm not in the top 50 guys in the state at LiveScope. LiveScope is a very, very hard skill to master. I've looked at a Garmin screen. I bet you 10 times as much than anyone else out here in this state, and I'm not the best at it, I've won tournaments, scoping, but man, there's a lot of tournaments won scoping, but there's a lot of places too that you don't have to scope around. Don Pedro in the fall, there's some sneaky stuff you could do that has nothing to do with live scope to catch them good, so, out here on the Delta, no scope. You don't need scope. Guys who are out here if you're on the Delta and you're looking at your live scope, it's really hurting you big time. You need to go and fish. So, but yeah, it's definitely helped me though. Fishing everywhere. You can point that thing around and see what everything's going on, seeing how fish react. But it's definitely been changed the world the last couple years. But still love fishing traditional stuff, throwing top water, moving baits, and going from there.
Yeah, and one thing that hasn't changed is the top anglers in the nation. A lot of them come from California and this West Coast scenery.
Yes.
I mean, how stacked was the competition this week? I've going back east and seeing that last year to seeing the guys that are competing here. I mean, do you still feel like we're going in the right direction in terms of quality and talent out here?
Absolutely, as long as we have a ton of talent in the state, but it's all up to the anglers and them just wanting it, because you can lose drive quick, this world's, there's a lot going on in the world, a lot of people struggling money-wise. I mean, life's hard. This life is crazy, right? When you think you're gonna get up, you're getting up, you got more stuff to pay for, this happens and that. So you gotta always keep the drive, man. That's what I do, and that's it can money can crush an angler, a great angler, and you just gotta keep with it. So,
Yeah, I mean, you can't win them all. A lot of times, most anglers don't win most tournaments, but it's when you stay consistent, you stay cashing checks, you stay putting time on the water that you're really going to excel. We have a great team here putting on great events. I mean, our staff works hard to keep that drive going on the West Coast. And we want you out here to see it. If you're watching online, it's just not that same experience. Let's hit over those 120 boat tournaments again. Let's keep drawing and getting better and getting bigger. So better prizes keep coming along the line. We've got an AVX 1880 for this tournament. Our championship is a $120,000 VX20. So we've got, I mean, a pretty high-end boat that you just qualified for as long as you fish Don Pedro and then you were at Shasta, correct?
yes, sir.
So yeah, I mean, you're right in there. You feel like you think you can handle AOI this year?
Oh gosh, you know what? I didn't do really good at Shasta, so no AOI for me this year, but definitely gonna look forward to the championship wherever we're gonna go. So when's that gonna be announced?
That's coming soon. I mean, it's pending, again, the support that's critical for our tournament trail to succeed, and that's finding places like the city of Oakley, like Lake Don Pedro Recreation Agency, Chicken Ranch Casino when we go down there. And if you're a community that wants to get involved, we'll take that support because we need you to keep us growing and we need everyone to get together to keep this getting bigger. This boat's probably going to be for sale in a few weeks, I'm sure, right? Is that the plan, or is this a new guide boat for you?
You know what? I'm gonna try to sell this thing, so see what's going on and go from there.
All right. Well, you already got his social media. Once again, give this guy a follow. I mean, he's on the top of the list everywhere he goes. Very consistent, and that's why he's such a quality guide. So if you're looking for a great person to come out and reach out to for the California Delta, a Motherlode Lake, Clear Lake, give this guy a chance. And good job this week, Christian.
Thanks, Michael.
Good job to all the anglers that came out here. I mean, an 89 boat field, a full field of co-anglers almost, 11 high school anglers. It was a great week here at Big Break Marina, and it's because of you. So stay tuned. This is the Blast Off BAM podcast, and we'll see you at the next one.
Competitive anglers powered by Mercury Pro XS outboards have won more bass fishing tournaments than all other brands combined. With lightning-quick acceleration, legendary reliability, and lightweight design, Pro XS has everything you need to travel farther, faster, and harder.
Hey, Northern California bass anglers. Ready to elevate your fishing game? Ford Fairfield partners with Bass Angler Magazine to offer top-notch trucks tailored for your needs. Our simple pricing ensures a fair deal and exceptional service. We live and breathe bass fishing, participating in local tournaments to understand exactly what you need so you never miss a good bite. Visit Ford Fairfield today and let's hit the water together.